I'm going back into the hole here. This ain't God's country back here. I gotta get the extended baggage in here one of these days and get this crap out of here. I'm gonna crawl back in here. Looks really good back here though. I mean, for 1955, you'd think there'd be more dirt and stuff. And you can see I should have brought my magnet. Of course, you get in here and you realize all the things you forgot. But it looks pretty good. I'm going to take that bell crank out, undo my elevators, pull that bell crank out, pull my elevator bush rod out, take my rudder pulleys out, pull my cables forward and clean them off. And let's get busy, I guess. But the hockey sticks look real nice. Everything looks real clean back here. Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all. No corrosion. I don't see anything really. All right, get to work. I should find some elves or something. Well, I'm working on getting my jack screws out. I got a bar in here. You trim it all the way nose down. There should be like 3 links off the sprocket up front. So you want to make sure that it happens. Make sure you're in rig and it's down in that hole there. You look forward. I don't have a light, but anyway. Also put a clamp on the elevator trim cables here to hold them, kind of hold them in place. I'm going to pull the elevator trim cable out too. And then also what you want to watch out for are these. You got little clevis bolts. I don't know why they put clevis bolts in here. There must be some engineering reason. But you got to make sure that these aren't frozen. These get frozen sometimes and it is nearly impossible to get them out. I got a bar just through it just to hold them in the same position, but I reach in here. Anyway, you get the gist of it. Well, there are my jack screws. I just got them out. One's kind of sticky and the other seems okay. They've definitely been in there for a while. Overhaul them. Even the pulleys in the back are just really stiff. All that adds up. Just a little stiff here, a little stiff there. I don't know when they were last serviced, but overall I think they're in pretty good shape. They just need a little cleaning up is all. Centric bearings there. I do have an overhauled set on the bench here, so I may just go ahead and install these. Notice these don't have eccentric bearings. A lot of times those will get worn out, the hole will, and somebody will just put it in a straight bearing, which probably works, you know, to an extent. You don't have that adjustability, but anyway, keep going. Well, I've been busting my ass all afternoon getting this thing cleaned up. It's looking pretty good. Took all sorts of grime and crap out of it. I used solvent sprayer, and then I went to a little bit of water and some acid etch, and just got it really nice and clean in there. There are still some corners in there that are just impossible to get to unless you take this top off. And I was thinking about doing that, but I need somebody to get in there and buck my rivets back up. Got it really clean. It's really nice to have clean. Really inspect these points here for cracks and wear and elongated holes and whatnot. And then also check up here, look for cracks and wear here as well. That's a good spot to check. You want to make sure that's all nice and clean, and then also look at these holes here. Everything's checking out pretty good. I took the pulleys out. The pulleys are out. The bell crank's out. Got all sorts of jack screws spread out all over the place. Gonna clean that up. Pulled the pulleys out. Everything was running just a little bit slow. Got them tuned up. Yeah, it's just a real pain in the ass to clean up. But once you get it clean, it's gonna be nice. It's like one of those things, you clean it up and then you start looking at it and then you look at it and you clean a little bit more and clean a little bit more, and then maybe I'll throw some two-part epoxy primer on there. The problem is you don't get rid of all the dirt, so you end up painting over some of the dirt sooner or later. But what are you going to do? The only real way to get it perfect is to take the whole thing apart, which isn't a bad idea. You can do that too. Takes a little bit more time, but it gave me a real good idea of what I got going down here. No cracks. The hockey stick looks good. Looks really good inside as well. Inside the bulkhead, I mean, it's clean. You got your standard little bit of surface corrosion, nothing to be too concerned about. Yeah, so she's going to clean up real nice. Real nice. I got a couple stingers I'm looking at. I got Alaska bush wheel, tail wheel. I'll have to go through that thing and clean it up. And then my stingers, I'm going to clean up my stingers. And there's my parts list. Clean up my stingers. And so if I can just get a little more clean, I got to clean my surfaces. My horizontal needs to be cleaned. My rudder and vertical. I'm going to take this goddamn bird skewer off and clean this up, replace the bearings. Although I did get them working, they're just sort of a little grindy. And then check the attach points here too. Make sure they're good. Once I get to that point, I'm going to slap her back together. She ought to be good. So I'm kind of like in day 2. Probably got about, I probably got about 8 hours in it, I suppose. Let's see, what time is it? 5 o'clock. I put about 5 hours in today, so maybe I got more like 10 hours into it. You know, you never count your own time. Right, anyway. So it'll probably be a 30-hour job, you know, by the time I get done with it, you know, getting all cleaned up and dialed back in. But, you know, it's really solid. Once I get through with this, then, you know, I won't have to go back into the tail. Which would be a good thing. But I can't fly unless I get the tail on, so I got to get the tail back on. I hate not having it flying. She just loves to fly. I love the 180. That's all I got to say. Well, I've rebuilt my jack screws. Those took me a few hours at least, and I had some extra parts, and did find some worn bearings and replace some bearings, and these ends here will wear out too. It's hard to find a round set of those, but found a set. And got my tail all super cleaned up. I'm just going to ACF 50 the inside of that. I would like to spray it, but it's just impossible to spray. And I did put a little chromate on here just to where the vertical bolts up. And I went through my tail wheel, took out my stinger, my saddle, and actually replaced my stinger because it was loose down here. Those bolts holes in the stinger got a little round. That's a ABI tail wheel, but now it fits real tight. That was kind of interesting. Now you want to make sure that you have your service bulletin out. I got it right here. It really describes the time intervals and what you want to do. Also, there's a piece of paper here you want to fill out and mail in when you're done. Just sort of a historical thing. But the service bulletin's really good about telling you where to look. Next is my horizontal over there. I got to clean that up and inspect it, but it's all looking really good. I'm on about, let's see, I probably got maybe 24 hours, maybe a little bit more into this project already. Still not there. I got my chain cleaned up, real nice and clean. So I put my jack screws back in. Also, I have my bell crank out here. And got to take these off. I do have another one. I took my push rod out and cleaned it up, and I got another bell crank here. Good bearings are in, new hardware. So anyway, just kind of working along. Like I said, it's a lot of cleaning. I mean, I'm cleaning all the time. I wish I had new parts. It'd take about half the time. But the jack screws themselves, you know, you go to McFarlane or something, they're $2,700. I did, like I say, had to rob Peter to pay Paul. I'll probably have to buy something sooner or later. Jack screws are like, good jack screws are like hen's teeth. I don't know if I'd buy a used set because there's so many places where they can wear out. Whether it's the cog down here or even the bushings down here. Somebody was looking for a set of these ends the other day. These holes wear out. The jack screw can be bent. That can also give you a problem when you turn your wheel. You go wonk, 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 kind of like that. And yeah, so anyway, it's coming along. I did pull my pulleys out of here, and I actually have the rudder cable sitting here. I want to clean the ends of them up. Also, I'm going to replace these ends here. A lot of Beechcraft are finding these things break. There's a little corrosion there. So anyway, I got a ways to go still. Kind of like day 3. But it's something you got to